Everyone set? Gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. And by a show of hands, how many of you have ever been a student athlete? Thank you, everyone in here. Now, what we are going to talk about today is the advantages and the disadvantages of being a student athlete. It's not always sunshine and rainbows being a student athlete. You always have to take pictures, get videos, and sign autographs. But the hardest thing is going in the classroom. That's where we go unnoticed. It's doing homework, taking tests, and writing papers, as well as meeting with tutors. It takes a very special person to be a student athlete. You have to have time management and be very precise with all your actions. You don't have time to waste throughout the day. Now, Jack is going to be speaking to you about some of the advantages of being a student athlete.
Yeah, with being a student athlete, there are some help that you can get through the school or through the athletic department. Beginning with academics. With academics, then, most athletic departments through some of the bigger schools, even here at St. Francis, they can help you financially, either through academic scholarships or anything like that, just to help make sure that you're able to make your way through school. Then, with some of the academic departments and athletic departments, they like to help student athletes in the classroom. So usually what they administer is either study hall hours or study table like we have here. And I know for most people they really thought it was a drag or hated it, but at the end of the day it really does help you. It helps you to sit down and actually be able to focus on your studies throughout a certain period of time and make sure that you're staying up on everything. And also, if you do need additional help, the athletic departments and academic departments work together, and they can administer tutors through you to help you if you're having troubles in any certain topics, or even upperclassmen who will be mentors to you who can help you through the way because they've been in that same situation that you've been in. Along with most athletic departments, they do like to have team GPAs, and sometimes they have friendly competitions that they like to administer throughout the different athletic teams. I know personally for our team, our coach does not like to go below a 3.0 GPA overall team average. So that kind of just gives us extra motivation to work that much harder in the classroom and just to not let the rest of the guys down and try to be above that curve. Along with that comes course selections. Now, at some schools, they do allow you, with a student athlete, to be able to have early selection of your core classes just to make sure that you're able to get the classes that you need and to be ahead of what you need to do. And also with these academics comes the graduation rates. Now, the NCAA did just report this past week that the graduation rate for students in four-year programs has actually hit one of the record highs at an 81%, and this is above the national average, which sits only at a 59% for those students that are pursuing a four-year degree and graduating on time. Along with being on a team, then, comes the social aspect of it. With that, then, just kind of comes that team camaraderie and being able to have a set core of friends coming in. Now, I don't know about most of you guys, but coming in here to St. Francis, I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know what to expect with it. But coming into my freshman year and preseason and everything like that, being able to meet everyone and just get to know everyone, that really helped me to integrate here and just kind of get what the college life is all about. And now with that, some of my best friends that I know, I've met here all on the team. Along with that, then, there are some kind of aspects that being on a team helps you with. Mainly the ones that I've seen are confidence, just kind of doing that thing, and helps you to get over the edge of something that you might have not thought that you'd be able to do before. Just comfortableness in situations, even like this. Talking in front of people, I don't know. It always kind of seemed tough to me, but just kind of being around that and getting everyone else's different opinions on a team and just kind of the different relationships that I build, I feel like it's helped me to be able to get into situations that I never really thought I would have been able to do before. And another one that I thought has been a big one is leadership. Just kind of being able to step up and say, you know what, this is what we need to do, and kind of just how to get the job done at the end of the day. And with being on an athletic team, then comes the exercise portion of it. Most of the teams here, I mean, they're practicing at least once a day, if not 2 to 3 times a day. And this is really helping you stay fit. I mean, people always talk about the freshman 15, and just with that, then you're really able to avoid that and just kind of be in the shape that you want to be. There are also teams that offer things such as sports nutritionists or team psychologists. I don't know, I can't speak personally for every other team, but I know for our team that we've had both of these. Just through a sports nutritionist, we've been able to kind of talk about what's right for us to eat, or what's kind of the way we should approach eating before a game or even practices. And then with the sports psychologist, it's kind of just talking about the mental aspect on, even off the field, just kind of like how you're feeling throughout the day, or even how you're feeling preparing up to a game. Going along then, there is a time where sports do end and you need to start focusing on your career. Now, sports in college can help you greatly with this, because when it comes time finding a job, employers really like to hire student athletes because they know that their commitment and hard work usually can administer the work ethic into whatever field that you're looking for. And even with relationships that you meet during your time in sports, these can really help you. Because I mean, think of a coach, or even such as like a referee or official that you meet during your time. Just getting to know these people can really help you, because you don't know along the way what you're going to do, and just having those certain relationships can really help you to what you're looking forward to. Now, with all these benefits that you've heard, the life of a student athlete isn't always glamour and is the best, and sometimes it does fall on tough times.
And like Jack said, while many only see the positives and the glory of being a student athlete, not many think of the disadvantages that go along with this rewarding yet daunting task. The disadvantages actually start in high school, where you have to decide if you actually want to play sports in college or not. And this is kind of a disadvantage because whenever you're looking to play sports in college, normally people are limited to where they can go based on their skill level. And this is bad because if you do go to a school for athletics, it may not be your first choice of school because you're going there to play sports. And if you would decide to stop playing, you're kind of stuck there. And if you want to transfer, it's kind of a difficult process. The first major disadvantage that you encounter while being a student athlete is the amount of time you have to dedicate in order to play a sport as well as be a student. There's the obvious mandatory activities such as practice and games, but there's also some of the things that people really don't think of that often, like team meetings, lifting, film study, or like studying your opponent, traveling, and community service. Not all sports include all these, but most sports include a variety of those that I just mentioned. A recent study by the NCAA actually found that on average, a Division I football or basketball player spends around 85 hours a week on just athletic and academic activities. And this is astonishing whenever you take into consideration that an average work week is only 40 hours. So this is more than double what a full-time job requires. This leaves very little room for free time to even eat, let alone hang out with friends and watch TV. This requires significant time management skills in order to make sure everything is getting done in a timely manner. And a lot of these student athletes also take part in other organizations or clubs in the school, which also requires even more time. One thing a lot of students look forward to is going home on weekends or on holiday breaks. Unfortunately for student athletes, a lot of them have to stay here on the weekends or stay here on breaks because of contests or practice. And I mentioned before a little bit about academics, as this is the main reason why students go to college in the first place. However, being a student athlete kind of gets in the way of this sometimes. For example, you might have to miss class on a Friday or some other day during the week because you have to go, because you have a game or you have to travel to another university for a contest. And while most professors are understanding of this and don't hold it against you, it does require you to have to work harder to catch up, and this may require you to have to either go in and see your professor or get a tutor or something along those lines. Another disadvantage of being a student athlete is that it really puts you in the spotlight. And while this may be a good thing if you're performing well on or off the field, it can also be a bad thing if you're drawing unwanted attention to yourself and or the university. A lot of times, seemingly mild infractions by student athletes are blown way out of proportion, or at least given a lot more attention than a normal student had done the same thing. For example, Johnny Manziel, as you can see in the picture up in the corner, he's a very high-profile student athlete. He plays for Texas A&M. He was last year's Heisman Trophy winner, and he's always under the media scrutiny no matter what he does, whether he's in a picture of him in a casino or whether he's at a party. But and while he's praised for the stuff he does on the field, most of these negative things is what unfortunately get most of the attention. Going along with this is the rules and the guidelines that you must follow as a student athlete. Some things that normal people can do is actually prohibited by student athletes, such as gambling. You're not allowed to gamble on sports. So, for example, you can't participate in any March Madness brackets or just bet on sports in general. That's prohibited. If you're caught doing that, then that's a violation. You could be deemed ineligible. You also can't compete in non-collegiate contests during your sporting season. This includes alumni games and other similar events. If you're found out doing that, then you could be ineligible for your sport. You also have to be very cautious about what people give you and the gifts you receive. Something you may consider a gift normally may actually be a violation and cause you to lose your eligibility. For example, if you and your teammates are at a local restaurant and there's a gentleman or whoever sitting there and they see that you're student athletes at the local university and they decide to do a nice thing and pay for your meal, well, if you accept that, and even if you don't know about it and they leave, you can't do that, and that's a violation, and it's kind of silly, but at the same time, you can't do it. And if someone does find out about it or someone has something against you and they know that, then they could tell whoever they need to tell, and it could deem you ineligible. The last disadvantage that I'm going to talk about is the risk of injury. Injury is a very common occurrence in all sports and is definitely one big negative aspect of being a student athlete. Not only does it set you back physically, but it also sets you back mentally. Being injured to the point where you can't compete, if any of you ever had to experience that, this is often a very frustrating and emotional time. And this can affect not only your academics and your athletics, but also your social life. So do you still think being a student athlete is easy?
As you may have known, a student athlete goes through a roller coaster of emotions almost on a day-to-day basis. For example, you may have to wake up in the morning and you're tired and you're frustrated because you have to go to film before class even starts. Then you go to your class and you're happy because you got an A on the test. You proceed to practice where you have a very bad practice, get yelled at by the coach, and are very frustrated. Almost to the point where you don't even want to study for your chemistry exam, or you can't fully focus on it for the next day. And then on top of that, if you're in a relationship with a significant other, that adds another bonus stress. I will always encourage anyone to be a student athlete. I feel that it gives you great hope to be a person, and it gives you the accountability. Also, you are able to handle stress better, and in the workforce, you're going to be more able to handle situations with a better mindset. Now, I'll always look back on my time here, and I'm sure I could speak for myself as well as my two partners, that I greatly appreciate my time as a student athlete. And when I look back on it, I could say I did it both academically and athletically. I would like to take this time to show you a quick commercial that I found on being an NCAA student athlete.
Division I student athletes have higher SAT and ACT scores than college-bound students.
The number of us receiving diplomas
is at an all-time high.
African American males who are student athletes
are 10% more likely to graduate.
Still think we're just a bunch of dumb jocks?
You need to do your homework.
There are over 400,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of us will be going pro in something other than sports.
So before you make any judgments, know what we do. Thank you for your time, and thank you very much.